Welcome to our workshop. And hi, Ibrahim. Welcome to EC Group also.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you.
Welcome. Would you mind switching on your video, please?
Sure, just a minute.
Requesting all the participants to keep the video on throughout. Hi, Sidhu. Good. So, okay. So the main objective. So the first 30 minutes, I'll be kind of talking about why are we doing this program. And this is a program that almost everybody in the company, other than this group, went through it. So it's a regular program that we run once in a while, just to create some kind of learning, sharing all together, all of us, in what we know, how we know, and why something is like that, in some way it is handled and all that. So we are calling this program Thrive. This is called Thrive. Anybody quickly, tell your understanding of the word thrive, meaning of word thrive? Thrive, T-H-R-I-V-E, thrive.
Anyone?
To grow.
What was that? Group?
To grow.
To grow, thrive, to grow. Okay. Anybody else?
Eager to learn.
Eager to learn.
To evolve, maybe.
To evolve. Okay. We are all developers. We know how to go to Google and find, right? கூகுள்ல என்ன சொல்றேன்னு சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம்.
இல்ல அதுக்கு முன்னாடி சொல்லிட்டாங்களே growth எல்லாமே சொல்லிட்டாங்க. அப்ப நான் நல்ல முறையில் வளர்ச்சியுறு அல்லது மேம்படு அத சொல்லணும்.
பாஸ்டன்ல முட்டராஜன் சொல்றாரு செழிப்பா இருக்கியா செழுமை. Thrive is, growing abundantly. அதான் thrive.
So kind of trying to learn culture better. So when we say culture, the topic of the program, if you see, American cultural orientation and effective communication. So we'll be covering both of it. Actually, it's 8-hour program. We are kind of compressing it for 4 hours. Okay. And I'm sure it will be helpful. And whenever you think there is some point that you experienced will be helpful, kindly stop and share. So that will be definitely helpful also. Okay. Okay, good. So now, in order to learn properly, we need to know what is a culture. Can anybody quickly give an answer? What is a culture? Okay. The thing is, when I ask anybody, all of I know you wanted to give chance to others, because if you tell others will not get chance. That's why you're not telling. I know. So don't worry. I'll pick names. Why this one? So, what do you think? When you think of word culture, what comes to your mind?
Our day-to-day, I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
Knowledge, like cultural.
Yeah.
Culture.
Everything around us. I mean, I could say like.
Okay.
I'm not getting the exact word.
Let me ask Vale. He'll tell you the exact answer. Vale, solunga Vale. What the thing is, there is no right wrong answer. All of us, we know it's a word that we have been using.
So you're asking me. You're asking me.
So
Well. Okay.
So wherever we go, we can see the different culture. So it is depends on the place. So it is a unique culture for.
Good. So when we go to a different place, when they say no, eat something like this thing, so it's not in a culture. We don't eat this. Or no, dress this way. No, we don't. It is not in a culture, right? Oh, people are wearing all modern dress. That's not Indian culture. The words, they use. Bala, what comes to your mind when somebody says culture, word culture? And by the way, I tell you, all of you will get a chance. Don't worry. Don't think that I'm partial only asking few people. All of you will get a chance. Okay.
Maybe it's a way of living or
way of living. Thanks to
Habits.
Google.
No.
Yes.
Habits are. Um,
Actually, Vaidi is very right. Habit or way of living, right? Yeah, it's very
Yes,
close.
right.
Very good. Let us hear Bala. Google என்ன சொல்லுது Bala?
Google, sir.
No, it is not wrong. You can absolutely 100% you can Google and say that is not.
Anything that comes to your mind, what is culture?
Yes.
Describe about the society or describe about the country and their activities.
Okay, good. So, Venkatesh, where have you heard the word culture most of the time? In which kind of context have you heard word culture more?
So culture I have heard on like whenever as we have already came across that point, I guess. So whenever we are approaching some other new places or something, some new country, some region, we used to hear the word, the term culture there. Maybe culture can be said as a practice which has been followed in a particular place.
Very good. Some practice that is followed. It's called culture. India is a culture-rich country, right? So we understand what we say. Ibrahim is new to this office today. The culture that he had in a previous organization is different from this organization. The culture, there's an organization culture. And every family have a culture, right? And when you go, some people, I didn't know one of my friends, we were eating and I didn't know taking appalam சாப்பிட கொடுப்பாங்கல்ல, taking in left hand and eating was not appropriate. So I was eating and I took this appalam in left hand, like everybody is watching me like this. Oh, something that's happened. Then I read, and some houses, if you enter the house with the slippers on, you'll be like, that's not acceptable, right? That's a culture. And in a culture, some people, in some families, culture, the dad and son will be like a friends. They'll be calling names, they'll be like fun and all that. But some culture, when the dad comes, zip, nobody talks, right? So it's a culture, it's all said. Okay. So that is all overall the culture is. Okay, let us see what's the definition of culture that maybe you've already seen it. There are several definitions. This is very close to the purpose that we are actually doing this workshop. Culture. Can somebody read it loud? Can I request Titus to read it loud?
Culture, a system of behavior that helps us act in an accepted or familiar way.
Yeah. Can somebody else also read one more time? Jansi, let us give chance to ladies also. Then they should not think they have not called.
So it's a system of behavior that help us act in an accepted or a familiar way.
Okay, so culture is a system of behavior that helps us act in accepted and familiar way. Okay, so a culture is something that commonly accepted or commonly known and accepted. Okay, commonly known and accepted is the culture. Okay, there is no right culture, wrong culture. Depends on the purpose, it changes, right? In some countries, you go, as soon as you go hug people, right? நம்ம ஊர்ல பண்ணி பாருங்களேன், அறுவலத்துக்கிட்டு வந்துடும் இல்லையா? So it is all now how it is accepted. It should be, there is no right wrong. So it's basically, it should be commonly acceptable and they should understand also. Commonly understandable and acceptable. So that is what culture is. Okay, in that context, we'll be seeing about American culture and Indian culture and how some of the things that we are doing, the way our customers behave, the way our teams behave, the way they respond to it, that is what we're trying to see in this workshop. So what is this happening? Can somebody say what is this?
Ticket booking.
Okay, it's some kind of a railway, I think so. Some ticket booking or something like that, but this is a queue, by the way. This is
smart. I will say it's a smart queue.
So it's a queue in India, okay, and this is a queue in America. Okay, it's a queue in America. They're waiting for a bus or something like that. It's a queue, okay, in America, and it's a queue in London. See the difference. See Here, people touching and standing, we don't bother, right? Finally, we want to get the ticket. That is what finally matters, right? Here, there is some more kind of, there is some little more personal space than that. Here, see, everybody is having like arm length distance. Corona, they are following like that, right? So they don't want to get into others' space. So that is how they are doing it in London. It is also queue in. And see, this is a bus stop in Finland. There is a difference. Even if you're actually shouting with your wife, the other person should not hear. I think so. I do not know why they're standing like that. But this is how they follow. I thought actually it was, see, even in a winter day in Finland, people are waiting for the bus. See, all of them are actually standing. So it's a culture. If you stand like this in India, it doesn't work, because if you're standing in Kodambakkam, the queue will go to Gindi. It is not possible. Okay, and commonly acceptable. Even in India, in the queue, if you go and actually dash on somebody, but here it is not acceptable. Actually, you should ask Nancy. Nancy lived in Finland for some time. When I showed this picture, she said exactly this is how actually it looks in Finland. And also I had a couple of my friends live, and exactly they said this is how. No, they stand a long way irrespective of the time and irrespective of where they're standing. They respect each other's private space. So that is what a culture is. In India, it is commonly acceptable. In Finland, it is commonly acceptable. Which is right, wrong? There is no right, wrong. It is accepted. That is what the culture is. Okay, basically. You are doing something, suddenly your team leader comes and says, what does it mean to you? I do not know. Vaidi and who's the other one? Not from Tamil Nadu.
Dilip, but
Dilip.
they understand.
They understand. So have you ever come across Vaidi or Dilip? What does it mean?
நீங்க பண்ணதெல்லாம் போதும், இனிமேல் சும்மா உட்காருங்கன்னு சொன்னாங்க.
ஆமா. சோ இப்போ வந்து நீங்க நினைச்சு பாருங்க.
நான் சொன்னதுல பாதலாம்.
சோ இப்போ நினைச்சு பாருங்க, நீங்க எல்லாம் அமெரிக்காவோட டீமோட உட்காந்துருக்கீங்க. திடீர்னு வந்து ஒருத்தர் வந்து சொல்றாரு, ஏதாவது ஒருத்தர் சொல்றாங்க, இது பண்ணி அங்கிருந்து டீம் லீடர் சொல்றாரு, ஆணையை பிடுங்க வேணாம் அப்படின்றாரு. Everybody in Indian culture understands, or Tamil Nadu culture, because it's a phrase used, right? But அங்க வந்துட்டு உடனே அவன் அங்க அந்த சைடுல உட்காந்துருக்கான். What is ஆணி? ஆணினா it's a nail. Why is he actually asking not to pluck any nails right now? Why there is talk about nail? Nobody will understand. Okay, when commonly understandable, acceptable, it is easily understandable. See, this is a newspaper clipping. Somebody read it in Tamil and we can translate for the other friends. என்ன சொல் தமிழ் படிக்க தெரியும், யாரா சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம்.
சிகிச்சையின் போது கம்பி நீட்டிய கைதி.
ஆமா, சிகிச்சையின் போது கம்பி நீட்டிய கைதி. இதுக்கு அர்த்தம் என்ன, யாராவது சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். வினோத், சிகிச்சையின் போது கம்பி நீட்டிய கைதி அப்படின்னு என்ன அர்த்தம்? எஸ்கேப் ஆயிட்டான் இல்லையா? அதான் புரியும்.
இல்ல வந்து தமிழ்நாட்டிலே நிறைய பேருக்கு புரியாது.
இது வந்து திடீர்னு வந்து ஒரு அமெரிக்கன் தமிழ் படிச்சுட்டு வராருன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. அவர் வந்து படிக்கிறார், திடீர்னு வந்து அப்ப என்னாச்சுப்பா பையன் இன்னைக்கு வரல, டெவலப்பர் வரலையே அப்படின்னு அவன் கம்பெனி நீட்டிட்டான் அப்படின்னு. ஏன் கம்பெனி நீட்டினான் அவன், எதுக்கு கம்பெனி நீட்டினான் தான் அவர் யோசிச்சுட்டு இருப்பார் இல்லையா? ஸோ the way it is used and commonly accepted, okay, that is what it is. And in you would have come across this many times in the work culture. Okay, if your team, your client will come and say, or team leader will come and say, or somebody will come and say that I want you to cherry pick the technology for this new product. அப்படின்னாங்கன்னா என்ன அர்த்தம்? செரி பிக்னா என்னன்னா, செரினா என்னது, பழம் தெரியும்ல, செரி பழம், ரைட்? I want you to cherry pickனா இவர் ஏன் போய் என்னைய செரி பிடுங்க சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காரு அப்படின்றதுதான் வந்து if you don't understand what it means, right? ஆணி பிடுங்குற மாதிரி தான், கம்பி நீட்டுற மாதிரி தான் இதுவும். But when we understand, like many of the times you have come across, are we all in the same page? இல்லையா, கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கீங்களா? Have you come across that? Are we all in the same page? என்ன அர்த்தம் குங்கனஸ் முரளி? Are we all in the same page என்ன அர்த்தம்?
எல்லாரும் ஒரே பேஜ்ல விசிபிளா இருக்காங்க. ஆடியன்ஸ் ஆடியன்ஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து ஒரே மூவி பார்த்துட்டு இருக்காங்க அந்த மாதிரி.
ஒரே ஸ்கிரீன்ல இருக்காங்க. ஓகே, வெரி குட். வீரா சொல்லுங்க, நீங்க அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது நீங்க கம் அக்ராஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? Have you heard this before? Are we all on the same page?
I wonder it is most frequently used in metaphor, but I wonder nobody says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let us ask Subbu. Subbu, when now I am sure you have heard many times, when they say are we all in the same page, what do they mean, Subbu?
That means all are understanding the current situation or current topic.
Perfect. Perfect. We are discussing about something. Are we all understanding at to that point? Are we all understanding? Same page na enna book read பண்ணும்போது 43வது பக்கம் படிப்போம்னு சொல்லி ஸ்கூல்ல எல்லாம் கோரஸ் ஸ்டடி பண்ண சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணும்போது நீ எல்லாரும் ஒரே இடத்துல இருக்குமா அப்படின்ற டேர்ம் அப்படியே யூஸ் பண்ணி டே டு டே லைஃப்ல வந்து யூஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. So when they say something, if you don't understand what they are saying, then we'll be misunderstood. Okay, that is why understanding a culture is important in understanding people better, understanding what they're telling us better. Are you all with me? Why learning culture is important? Good. இந்த இதுல வந்து நம்ம சேர்மன் வந்து டாம் அடிக்கடி ஒரு இது யூஸ் பண்ணுவார். என்ன அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, if you hit by a bus today, what will happen to this project அப்படின்னு கேட்பார். If you hit by bus today, what happens to the project? அப்படின்னு என்னன்னா, உன்னை இன்னைக்கு பஸ் இடிச்சிருச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னா நீ செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கிற வேலை யார் பாப்பா அப்படின்னு அவங்களுக்குலாம் அவஸ்தை குணமா இருக்குல்ல, என்ன பஸ் இடிக்குதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. பட் இட் இஸ் a term. அது லிட்டரலா அவங்க மீன், லிட்டரல் மீனிங் இஸ் நாட் தட். லிட்டரல் மீனிங் என்ன அப்படின்னா, இன்னைக்கு நீ வரலன்னா வேற யார் அந்த வேலையை பாப்பா அப்படின்றது அதோட மீனிங். ஓகே, இல்ல அப்படின்னு சொன்னா என்ன ஆகும்னா, பாரு இப்பதான் நானே கல்யாணமாக இருக்கேன், அதுக்குள்ள வந்து பஸ் இடிச்சிருமான்னு சொல்லி அவர் வந்து பயமுறுத்துறாரு, என்ன கம்பெனி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி, என்ன ஆளு இப்படி பேசுறாரு அப்படின்னு மிஸ் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்ஸ் வரது வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு. ஓகே, தட் இஸ் வை அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் the culture is very important in making a team work together in a better way, especially in this distributed different culture work environment. Okay, good. Okay, good. So any questions on culture or any other words that you've come across so far? Anybody idu varaiku sonnadhu vityasama irundhuchu? Any learnings that you had before? Prem, anything that you can add? Any like words like this, hit by a bus, are we all in the same page, cherry picked, all that? Is there any terms that you've come across? Arun, any term that you would like to add? Something that was very, very different for you for the first time.
Not at this moment, Daniel. We can proceed.
Okay, good. Okay, so basically, when they say something, without misunderstanding, easily we can actually go to Google. Okay, the phrases, idioms, it's always different. Okay, we need to accept, oh, okay, I don't understand. If you don't understand, that's absolutely fine, because we are not from that culture. But we need to actually see what that is and learn from it, so that next time we are all understood the right way. Okay, good. Also, one other thing that we need to learn about American culture especially is the names, right? Ipo vandu ennoda name vandu, my name is Daniel Jacob. Okay, and இதுல வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நேம் எது லாஸ்ட் நேம் எது அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கேட்டோம்னா நமக்கு வந்து கன்ஃபியூஸ் ஆகும். பட் நம்ம எல்லாருமே ஏதோ ஒரு டைம்ல ஃபார்ம் எழுதிருப்போம், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நேம், லாஸ்ட் நேம், மிடில் நேம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஏதோ ஒரு ஃபார்ம் எழுதிருப்போம் இல்லையா? ஸோ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நேம் இன் கன்சிடரிங் Daniel Jacob, வாட் இஸ் த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நேம், வாட் இஸ் த லாஸ்ட் நேம்?
Daniel is the first name, Jacob is the second name.
Third name, last name?
Last name.
ஸோ இப்போ என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா நமக்கு ரெண்டு நேம் தான் இருக்கு. இதுல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லாஸ்ட்ல போடுறதா இல்ல ஃபர்ஸ்ட்டுக்கு செகண்டுக்கு போடுறதா, எதை காலியா விடுவீங்க? நீங்க எல்லாம் ஃபார்ம் எழுதிருப்பீங்களா? ரெண்டு நேம் தான் இருந்துச்சுன்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லாஸ்ட்ல போடுவீங்களா இல்ல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மிடில்ல போடுவீங்களா?
First and last.
First and last. Okay, good. So அவங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா they always have a three names. There is a middle name and there is a logic to it. அவங்க யாராவது ஒரு தாத்தா, பெரியப்பா, சித்தப்பா யாராவது ஒருத்தர் பேர் வச்சிருப்பாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி நம்ம இதுல வைக்கிறோம்ல, அந்த மாதிரி
junior, senior.
Yes, அந்த மாதிரி. So first name, last name. So here Daniel Jacob, Daniel is the first name, Jacob is the last name. That could be also a family name in this thing. but don't confuse with the people of name with Andhra names. But that is, I don't think that there is a logic developed in the world to understand Andhra name. There will be 5 names, and after all the guess, finally you'll actually guess it wrong. Every time happened to me. Okay, so I mean, culture in Andhra is like that, because there will be one family name, and there will be one kind of a sometimes it's a caste name, or there people that from that region name, and all that will be there. Like that in America, there is a lot of things. Okay, first name, last name. What is your client's name, Crosswind?
Bob Kosel.
Bob Kosel. Okay, so Bob வந்து அவரோட first name இல்லையா?
ஆமா. Yes.
அவரோட full name என்னன்னு சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம்.
Actual name is Robert Kosel, but in project wise he changed as Bob Kosel. I don't know why. I need to ask one time.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay, sorry, the short name. Okay, Bob is a short name, it is not the first name. Okay, adhe mari when somebody calls me in India, referring to me India, they'll always say Mr. Daniel, but you will not call Mr. Bob, right? You'll always call Mr. Kosel, last name modern solo. Okay, so that is how it is. Whenever you use a Mr., you always use their last name to say. If you say the first name, you just say the name Daniel abdina, it is all good. If somebody comes and calls me Daniel, normally non-working culture, an elderly person can be offended, right? Without any respect. But there, calling Daniel is absolutely respectful way of calling people. Sometimes they'll be calling their fathers also like that. Okay, so it is okay, absolutely understand. So there's a first name, last name. Whenever you use Mr. or Doctor, or usually you don't use Mrs. Miss. Okay, Mrs. and Miss is a commonly used for women. Okay, so Mr. if you use Miss you use, or Doctor you use, it's always you refer to the last name, not to the first name. Okay, now the other complication that the Crosswind added. Our pair வந்து Robert, but people are calling him Bob. Okay, in US there is a kind of a culture developed. The culture is every word should be a one syllable word. ஒரே வார்த்தையில ஒரே syllable முடிஞ்சணும். Bob na முடிஞ்சிருச்சு. So can you tell your client's name, Venkatesh?
Andrew.
Andrew is not a single syllable, right? Okay, we'll come to this later. Okay, let us ask Titus. Of the people that you interact with or you do work, what is the first name? Titus.
Client name?
Yeah. அவருக்கு யாருக்கு டவுட் ஆயிடுச்சு? மைக் தான். அதான் யோசிக்கிறார், என்ன எப்படி யோசிக்கிறார். ஓகே, மைக். ஓகே, குட். சோ
எனக்கு இன்னும் ஷார்ட் நேம் வைக்கல, அத யோசிச்சிட்டு இருக்கேன்.
சோ மைக் உடைய ஃபுல் நேம் என்னது?
மைக் சுடிக்.
நோ. the first name கேக்குறேன். இது மைக் is a calling name. The first name full up.
Michael.
Correct. Michael. Okay. Michael, Mike ஆயிருவாங்க. Thomas, Tom ஆயிருவாங்க. Andrew, Andy ஆயிருவாங்க. இந்த Andrew வந்து அவர் actually not an American origin, American. அதனால வந்து அவர் ஃபுல்லா Andrewன்னு வச்சிட்டு இருக்காரு. But some people also call it. But usually in an American way, Andrew will be an Andy. Andyன்னு வச்சிருந்தா அவர் Andrewன்னு அர்த்தம். Daniel will be a Dan. And David will be a Dave. எல்லாமே ஒரே நம்ம டேவ்னா ஒரே இதுல முடிஞ்சிரும். That's how every individual will have a short name. Okay, but அப்பவுமே வந்து இவரு சொன்னது வந்து மேட்ச் ஆகல. யார் சொன்னதுன்னா கேக்குறேன், அதான் டவுட் எனக்கு. Crosswind சொன்னது மேட்ச் ஆகல. Robert is why Bob. Let me ask Prem, with your experience, why is that Robert a Bob?
I had this question in mind for so I don't know the reason. Maybe Robert means robbery. If you turn to Roberts, robber.
So Robert னு சுருக்கி வச்சா ராப்னு வரது நல்லா இல்லன்னு சொல்லி கூட 13ஆம் நம்பர் வீடு மாதிரி மாத்தி வச்சிருக்கலாம். Bob. I also don't know the answer. but that's commonly they accept. Robert na, Bob na, everybody understands Robert. And we work with several Bobs, and every Bob is not, no, every Bob is a Robert. Okay, so why are they doing like this? We don't know. We don't even want to know, but that is their culture. Yes, I am calling Bob a Bob, but his passport எடுத்து பார்த்தா ராபர்ட் நடுவுல ஒரு பேர் இருக்கும், அதுக்கப்புறம் கோஸ்டல் இருக்கும். அந்த நடு நேம் யாருக்குமே தெரியாதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்ல. So there will be a middle name, and for example, Michael Sudik, already name as we know, but his full name is Michael Edward Sudik. Every individual will have that, like the 3 big names, okay, or 3 names, okay. So it will be good for us to understand. Okay, Bob, enna ivlo periya aalukku Bob nu thirundu per vechirukanga, calling they are using it. Okay, so go more and if you want, if it is an interesting subject to you, go and learn more of it. And there are so many interesting, because of time I'm not doing it, but if the link that I can share it with you, if you go, there's a big list of people that you can actually go and see. This is what they mean when they call it. Okay, Williams will be what?
Bill.
Inga maatchu paruga. Williams will be Bill, not Will. So but that is how they are. Okay, so that is how it is important that we understand some culture to make better sense of people that we are working with. Okay, good. Of my experience of dealing with Americans, many of you, all of you have experience. Also, you can also share. What I have seen is, for anything there is a plan. நாளைக்கு நம்ம 2 பேரும் வந்து இத பத்தி ஒரு பேசலாம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா உடனே வந்து ஒரு NDA சைன் வாங்கிடுவாங்க. அவன் பக்கத்து வீட்டுக்காரனா இருப்பான், அண்ணன் தம்பியா இருப்பான், that doesn't matter. We're going to discuss about something. There is an NDA that we need to get signed. Sign பண்ணிவாங்க, nobody bothered. That's how it is. Okay, famously share this experience. I was actually visiting US, and I was living in Tom's house, our chairman's house. And evening we were going for a walking, and opposite this lady came, and it's a neighbor. They were talking about it. And Linda, Tom's wife, asked, "No, where is your son? A 9-year-old son. Where is he?" Oh, he's actually cleaning the swimming pool. He's cleaning it was a summer. They were getting ready for this swimming pool. He's cleaning the swimming pool. And oh, it was already late. Oh, still is he cleaning? Yeah. Actually, in the morning we signed a contract that if he cleans the swimming pool, I'll pay him this much money. In between, he came and said that no, he's tired, that he cannot do. I told him, contract is contract. If you don't do it, then you will not get the money. இது யார் பேசிக்கிறானா, ஒரு அம்மாவும் பையனும் பேசிக்கிறாங்க. ஓகே, நீ இந்த ஸ்விம்மிங் பூலை கிளீன் பண்ணிட்டே அப்படின்னு சொன்னா உனக்கு நான் இவ்வளவு காசு தரேன்னு சொல்லி அவங்களுக்குள்ள ஒரு அக்ரிமெண்ட். அது பிரிண்டட் அக்ரிமெண்ட்டோ எழுதின அக்ரிமெண்ட்டோ என்னன்னு எனக்கு தெரியல, பட் தேர் இஸ் an agreement. It is not that they don't believe each other or something like that. That's how they are. ஒன்னா ப்ராப்பரா யோசிப்பாங்க. நம்ம கிளைண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் யோசிக்கிறது நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க. ஓ, இப்படின்னா என்ன பண்ணுவோம், இப்படின்னா என்ன நடக்கும், if you've done a mistake, how can we not repeat this root cause analysis பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னா, that is how they are brought up. That is how their family works. That is how they actually see how they can do the process and planning properly. Okay, இதுல இன்னொரு எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, நம்ம வீட்டுல நம்ம தாத்தா செத்து போயிட்டார் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா திங்கக்கிழமை என்னைக்கு நம்ம அடக்கம் பண்ணுவோம் அவரை?
மோஸ்ட்லி திங்கக்கிழமை இல்லைன்னா செவ்வாய்க்கிழமை.
ஆமா, அப்புறம் ஃபாரின்ல இருந்து யாராவது வரணும்னா ஒரு 2 நாள் மீறி போனா இல்லையா, பையன் வரணும் அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவதுன்னா பொண்ணு வரணும் அப்படின்னு எதாவது பண்ணுவோம். பட் யூல் பி அமேஸ்ட், அவங்க வந்து தாத்தா திங்கக்கிழமை செத்து போனார்னா எல்லாரும் போய் பார்த்து தாத்தாவை பார்த்து கொண்டு போய் பார்லர்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. இந்த அண்டர்டேக்கர்ஸ் எல்லாம் இருப்பாங்களா, பார்லர், அங்க போய் வச்சுட்டு சனிக்கிழமை தான் வந்து அவங்க ஊர்ல வந்து ஃபியூனரலே நடக்கும். என்னைக்கு செத்தாலும் சரி, ஃபியூனர்னா சனிக்கிழமை தான் நடக்கும் அவங்க ஊர்ல. அதெல்லாம் நம்மளால புரிஞ்சிக்க முடியாது. என்னையா செத்துட்டாரு, நான் லாரல் நம்ம ஒரு தடவை ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு போயிருக்கேன், லாரல் அவங்க அப்பா இறந்துட்டாருன்னு சொல்றாங்க. நான் போயிட்டு நினைக்க ஐயோ இப்படி ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரொம்ப கவலையா. அடுத்த நாள் பார்த்தா இந்த அம்மா வேலைக்கு வந்துருச்சு. ஐயோ என்னடா இந்த அம்மா வேலைக்கு வந்துருச்சு, என்ன ஒண்ணுமே புரியல, என்ன ஆச்சுன்னே புரியவே இல்லை சுத்தமா. என்னன்னு கேட்டா அவங்க போய் பார்லர் வச்சுட்டாங்க. டெய்லி வந்து வியூயிங் ஹவர்ஸ்னு கொஞ்ச நேரம் வச்சுக்குவாங்க. யாராவது பார்க்கணும்னா அந்த பார்லர்லயே போய் கொஞ்ச நேரம் பார்த்துட்டு வந்துடலாம். பட் ஃபியூனரல் வில் ஹேப்பன் ஆன் சாட்டர்டே ஒன்லி. ஏன்னு சொன்னா அந்த வாரம் ஃபுல்லா எல்லாரும் பிளான் பண்ணி ஒர்க்ல இருப்பாங்க, இல்லைன்னா வேற ஏதாவது பிளான்ஸ் இருக்கும். அப்ப அட்டன் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறவங்க அட்டன் பண்ண முடியாம போயிடும். சாட்டர்டேனா அவங்களால பிளான் பண்ணிக்க முடியும்னு சொல்லி தே டு இட், ரைட்? தட் இஸ் ஹவ் மச் தே பிளான்ட் ஆர். அதே மாதிரி அவங்க மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த ஹாலிடேஸ்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னு வச்சுங்களேன், ஒன்னா ஃப்ரைடே வரும் இல்லை மண்டே வரும். அந்த தேங்க்ஸ் கிவிங் மட்டும்தான் தேர்ஸ்டே வரும். லீவே அவங்களுடைய லேபர் ஹாலிடே வர மண்டே கூட அவங்களுடைய என்ன ஹாலிடே, லேபர் டேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன், வர மண்டே இட்ஸ் ஹாலிடே. ஸோ லீவே வந்து மண்டே தான் வரும் அவங்களுக்கு. நமக்கு வந்து ஆகஸ்ட் 15 என்னைக்கு வேணா வருது இல்லை, அந்த மாதிரிலாம் வராது அவங்களுக்கு. So it will be a Monday so that they can plan that week. So that is how much they are planned. கல்யாணம் பண்ணணும்னா ஒரு வருஷம் பிளான் பண்ணுவாங்க. அந்த போட்டோகிராஃபர் தான், இந்த இடம் தான் அப்படின்னு. ஆனா மொத்தம் கல்யாணத்துக்கு கூப்பிடுறதே 15 பேர் தான் கூப்பிடுவாங்க. பட் அந்த 15 பேருக்கு வந்து இவ்வளோ பெரிய செட்டப் பண்ணி ஒரு வருஷமா பிளான் பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ த பிளானிங் அண்ட் லுக்கிங் ஃபார்வர்டு. ஐயோ நீ என்கிட்ட என்ன சொல்லவே இல்லையே, நமக்கு என்னன்னா ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கேன், பண்ண முடியல, இன்னும் முடிஞ்சானா சொல்லியிருப்பேன்ல அப்படின்றது நம்முடைய வியூவா இருக்கும். பட் ஆன் தேர் வியூ, if you're not able to do it, you should have told me before. You're keeping me in the dark box. You're keeping me in the dark. It's a black box. I cannot see in all these terms you would have heard. Because that is how they mind. அவங்க பேனிக் ஆயிடுவாங்க. நம்ம ரோட்ல போயிட்டே இருப்போம், திடீர்னு குறுக்க வந்தானா எப்படி கையை நீட்டிட்டு போயிடுவோம். அங்கெல்லாம் அப்படி பண்ணவே முடியாது, ஏன்னா அவங்களுக்கு பழக்கமே இருக்காது. பிகாஸ் இட்ஸ் சிஸ்டம். அப்படியே போயிட்டே இருப்போம், திடீர்னு குறுக்க வந்துட்டாங்கன்னா பெரிய ஆக்சிடென்ட் ஆயிடும் அவங்களுக்கு. ஓகே, so that is why when they insist on planning, when they insist on creating a process, creating roadmap and all that, that is how much it matters to them. Okay, good. Okay, so again we kind of rest in those topics. It will be good that you can go and learn. And the other time is time zone. Indiaல வந்து ஒரே டைம் தான். காலையில 6 மணின்னு சொன்னா இங்க வந்து நாகாலாந்துல பர்மா பக்கத்துல இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு அதே தான், மேல ஜம்மு காஷ்மீர்ல இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு அதே தான், இந்த சைட் குஜராத்ல இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு அதே தான் இல்லையா? பட் அங்க வந்து அப்படி கிடையாது. டைம் ஜோன் டிஃபரன்ஸ். There are different time zones. And what time zone that your customer is from, Dilip?
EDT. It's Eastern Daylight Zone.
East. Okay, now Eastern. Okay, good. So what time zone is Bob Kosel is from?
Eastern time zone. EST.
ஓகே, வெரி குட். ஸோ ஈஸ்டர்னா அவங்க எல்லாருமே இந்த சைடில் இருக்காங்க, இந்த ஆரஞ்சு இந்த சைடில் ரைட் எக்ஸ்ட்ரீமில் இருக்காங்கன்னு அர்த்தம். ஸோ அங்கே தான் வந்து அவங்களாம் இருக்காங்க. இந்த கலிஃபோர்னியா, பே ஏரியா, சிலிகான் வேலி அதெல்லாம் எங்க இருக்குது?
Pacific time zone. Eastern time zone. California specific time zone.
அதெல்லாம் என்ன டைம் ஜோன்?
EDT நாங்க.
Just in the map பார்த்து சொல்லுங்க.
Pacific time zone.
யா, வெரி குட். ஸோ அந்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரீம்ல இருக்கு. ஸோ அப்பனா ஒரே கண்ட்ரியில காலையில நியூயார்க்ல வாஷிங்டன் டிசி தான் ஹெட் குவார்டர்ஸ். காலையில வந்து ஜோ பைடன் வந்து பிரசிடென்ட் பைடன் வந்து அவர் பேச ஆரம்பிக்கிறாரா 8 மணிக்கு அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, அங்க கலிபோர்னியால இருக்கிற அதே கண்ட்ரி ஆளுக்கு வந்து 8 மணி கிடையாது, அங்க ஒரு 4 மணி நேரம் டிஃபரன்ஸ். காலையில 4 மணி அவங்களுக்கு, புரியுதுல? ஸோ அதெல்லாம் வந்து தட் இஸ் ஹவ் மச் தே பிளான்ட் ஆர். லீவ் 6 மாசத்துக்கு ஒரு தடவை வந்து நம்ம ஜாஷுவா ராலி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நம்மளோட ஒரு ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க. அவங்க வீட்டுக்கு போய் பேஸ்மெண்ட் கூட்டிட்டு போனாரு. ஆச்சரியமா ஆயிடுச்சு. என்னன்னா ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கான மீட் வந்து வாங்கி அவங்க ஸ்டோர் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கான மீட் ஸ்டோர் பண்ணி ஃப்ரீஸ் பண்ணி வச்சிருக்காங்க. நம்ம அப்படி பண்ணுவோமா? கறிக்கடைக்கு போய் என்னென்ன காலையில வெட்டினதா நைட் வெட்டினதான் கேட்போம் இல்லையா? இல்லைன்னா வாங்க மாட்டோம் நம்ம. ஸோ அந்த அளவுக்கு ஆர் கல்ச்சர் இஸ் லைக் தட். நம்ம ஃப்ரெஷர்ஸ் அவங்க வந்து ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கே வந்து they are doing it. Why they are doing it? For different reasons we don't understand, but we respect their culture. That is how they operate. Okay, so and இப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா டே லைட்னா நமக்கு we understand, somebody said it's a great idea. ஏன்னா அவங்க டைம் அவ்வளோ லைட் போடுறதெல்லாம் சேவ் பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. நாகாலாண்டுக்கு போயிருந்தேன் நான், இங்க நம்ம இந்தியாவில் நாகாலாண்டுக்கு. அங்க காலையில் 4 மணிக்கே விடிஞ்சிருது. ஆக்சுவலி உண்மையாலுமே 4 மணிக்கு நான் தெரியாம இப்படி எந்திரிச்சு பாக்குறேன், பட்ட பகல் மாதிரி இருக்கு. ஏன்னா ஆச்சரியமா இருக்கு. என்னன்னு பார்த்தா நமக்கு ஒரே டைம் ஜோன்ல ஆப்ரேட் பண்றதுனால, பிகாஸ் தே ஸ்டில் ஃபர்தர், பட் நம்ம ஒரே டைம் ஜோன் இருக்கிறதுனால we chose not to do it. Probably I think there is a talk that they may be going to be time zones பிரிக்க போறாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, பட் இப்போதைக்கு இல்லை. So that is their other one thing that we need to learn. Okay, with this, now the first introduction of why learning culture, why understanding their culture, their work culture, understanding names and people, time and all that is important. Okay, so over to any questions. We can interact. Probably Kavita, you should create a Skype group for this, for interacting and sharing on culture. And so over to Arun.
Thank you, Daniel. All right, let me share my screen and we can proceed from there. are seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So there is a demolition going on next to my house, so you might be hearing some additional disturbances today. So bear with me here. Thank you everyone for coming into this program. We are doing this for the 4th time because we saw very good success in all the years that we conducted. As Daniel said, culture is very important. We live and grow in a culture, but we also, for a work stand, we work with people of different cultures. When you take EC Group, primarily, all our customers are from North America because our headquarters is in Michigan. So, understanding how they process information, how they speak, what do they mean when they speak, how should I respond back to them, what should I tell which should be correctly understood by them. All these things are cultural aspects, and that is why we are running this program. And we are going to condense and try to give you in just four sessions all the information that we have collected over the years, so that because you maybe not every one of you is talking to a client, but even in the future, very immediately you will start talking with the client. At that point, you should be well equipped to know how to talk to this person, how to get information, how to present information. All those things we are going to cover here. Okay. Most of these things you are all experienced developers, so you would have already learned. But this will be a little bit more supportive for that. Your whatever ideas you have about culture and other things. Okay. So what are you seeing here in the screen?
Flag 50 stars.
American flag. Okay. How many stars are there? Anybody? Don't count.
50.
50. What does it denote? What does it signify? 50 states. Wonderful. Somebody is watching general knowledge programs. How many lines are there in the flag?
7.
7. So what about the white line? Red line, white line.
Okay.
There are 13 lines in the US flag. Okay. It has some history to it. The next few minutes are going to be just history lesson, trying to understand how this country came into existence. Who are these people that we are doing business with on a daily basis? Okay. So this is a graphic of something called Pangea. Pangea is the original land mass that was on the earth and how they drifted to become the continents that we see today. So then they all moved to different places. Maybe if it is all together, but it is all separated by Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean, right? So this is all theory. I'm not here to debate it. Man was, came out of Africa, the Horn of Africa, South Africa, 60,000 years ago. And then he came to Egypt, Sudan area, 50,000 years ago. And then from Saudi, they all went inside 45,000 years ago into Europe, 30,000 years ago into Russia and India and all those things. And then you see 15,000 years ago, between Siberia and Alaska, there was a ice bridge. So people were able to actually cross over during one of the ice age. It was connected. Both Asia and North America was connected, and people were able to jump on those ice sheets and come on to Alaska. And this is how history says North America was populated. This is how people actually came on to North America, and this is suggested 15,000 years ago. And the time this country, that country is so big right now. Okay. These are the native inhabitants of America. So we have to understand that. So those people who crossed that ice bridge, they look like this. They look like this for several centuries, years, millenniums. And until, America was captured and all the people were, displaced, and then the population, demographics changed. And now you see different kind of people in North America and South America. Okay. And anybody knows who this guy is?
Columbus.
Christopher Columbus. The name is written there, but maybe they already knew. Christopher Columbus has lot of things attached to his name. Very positive things, very negative things. Let's not go into it, but this guy took a boat and came from Europe, and he set foot on some islands, and he came in search of India. But then when he found land, he said, I found India. But in fact, he had actually found North America only. So the West Indies is where he actually landed. And he has made 4 trips in his lifetime. And Americans actually have a day allocated for Columbus called Columbus Day. Actually, national federal holiday. Okay. So this is how US was discovered by the Western countries like the European countries and colonized. Okay. And when we talk about this American history and American culture, the most defining moment of American culture and this whole evolution is their independence. So they call the founding fathers, 13 governors of 13 different states came together and said, okay, from now on, we are not going to pay taxes to Britain. We are a separate country called United States of America. So on July 4th, 1776, they write this Declaration of Independence in Liberty Hall, Philadelphia. And I just put 8 people, but there are 13 people. So now we can connect this with the 13 lines we saw in the flag. Those are the 13 states which came together and formed this country called, United States. And so initially, the things marked in this brown, those are the 13 states. Maine, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. These are the states initially formed as United States of America. Then the third president, Mr. Thomas Jefferson, what he did, he paid a large lump sum and he bought all this white part from France. France had that. From New Orleans, they captured all the way till Canada. So it was bought from France and annexed inside America. So that's how it's called the Westward Expansion. So slowly America started expanding towards the west. Mostly all the growth, everything started on east. You would have watched a lot of Wild West movies, like Clint Eastwood movies, where they are riding horses and trying to find gold. So that's how slowly America grew into the western part. Okay, and as you see, all these pink areas, brown areas, blue, they were all fought with Mexico and bought, or Mexico paid took a price and they gave it back. Okay, so that's how the whole 50 contiguous states all came into picture. And this is an interesting demography. You see different colors representing the majority of the people who are living in that particular district. Each square block is a district. So all this light blue is German. So come again?
District.
Not state. All these small blocks are districts.
Small blocks, okay.
Small blocks. So predominantly what do we see? Light blue. What does it mean? German. So all those people actually came from Germany. Okay. And you see some pink here. What is pink? Mexican. So because it's close to Mexico, those people came inside US. Purple. Purple, African American. Because African American were brought from Africa during the slave trade to work in cotton picking, cotton farms. So கீழ தான் வந்து temperature வந்து கொஞ்சம் cotton வளர்க்கிறதுக்கு நல்லா இருக்கிறதுனால you see அங்கே settle ஆகி அந்த area full-ஆ they have more African Americans, right? மேல வந்து கொஞ்சம் light blue Italian அந்த மாதிரி. நியூயார்க்லாம் full-ஆ Italian தான். இந்த படம் Godfather படம்லாம் பார்த்திருப்பீங்கல்ல, மார்லன் பிராண்டோ. All Italian mafia, everybody. So New York is full of Italian. You see this, there is one unique and isolated green patch. That is Dutch. What is special about that area? Daniel, நீங்க சொல்லாதீங்க, வேற யாராவது சொல்லட்டும். What is special about this dark green patch? Kavita, you don't know?
Beer, right?
அது கரெக்ட். Office headquarters அங்கதான் இருக்கு. So this dark green patch is Grand Rapids district. That's where our office headquarters is. And Dutch people are very famous for brewing beer. So there is a lot of breweries in Grand Rapids. People drink, I don't know whether they drink, they manufacture a lot of beer there. Okay. So that is how we see, even though we see one America, inside that you see how the demographics is, very separate. So where our customer is coming from, also we have to pay attention to who they are, how they talk, what kind of respect they give, what kind of respect they expect from us. All those things are contextual cultural items that we have to understand, right? There is a phrase called American Dream. You would have heard it in movies and things like that. In general, you can hear a lot of people speak about it. There could be different interpretations, but a general meaning or a general way of saying that is life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement, regardless of social class or circumstances of birth. So this is a general theme of the whole population. I want to live the American dream. If I work hard, if I study hard, if I do things good, I will be a better person. I will have a big house. I will have all the resources I need. That is the American dream, to live in the fullest form, and not by which family you are born into, how many contacts. No, by your abilities you can grow into a better person. That's the rough meaning of American dream. And it's also over the years it's changing. In the 70s and 80s and 90s, American dream is owning a large house in a suburb. But in the 2000s it might be different. So, but there is a general concept called American dream. Okay, so we will come to a little bit of the contextually what they do, how they take on life, where they live, where they do work. These items we will touch on briefly. Okay, so on the left you have condos, which is the smallest apartments. I mean, in terms of housing, that's the smallest unit. You go and rent a condo, or you buy a condo, something like that. Then people actually move on to something called townhouse. So Mogapur is full of townhouses. Every house is attached with the next house. You don't have any gap between the houses, so that people, when they sell a condo, they move on to a townhouse. They buy a townhouse which has either garage, or you park the car on the road and the door is right on the street. That's a townhouse. And then people eventually, when they get rich, they move on to a single family home. So what you see on the bottom, where you might have a swimming pool, but you will have a fence, and your house is a little bit away from the street. You will have a parking place and all those things. So these are the different places people live in. So this context could help you. When somebody says, I just bought a single family home, then you can congratulate them. Hey, wow, you made a big thing in your life. Congratulations, something like that. So we need to understand the context of what they are talking about. When it comes to festivals, predominantly they only celebrate towards the end of the year. Thanksgiving, Christmas, that's the time they try to celebrate. But apart from that, throughout the year, it's sprinkled with federal holidays: Columbus Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, anything else, something else. So those days are their nationally observed days. When it comes to festival, not only the houses, the entire districts try to celebrate. Like in Singapore, if there is a Thaipusam, you can actually see all the roads with lights and everything, right? The whole district spends and celebrates. Something like that, Americans districts also, they try to spend around the Christmas time, they try to decorate all the streets and everything. So those are some of the festivals that they celebrate. When it comes to food, I don't know, America, I don't know whether if it has any authentic food that you can call American, right? Because hot dog and burger all came from Germany, essentially. And as we saw in the slide, most of them are Germans. So நம்ம இங்கேந்து நம்ம US போனோம்னா நம்ம தயிர் சாதம் ஊறுகாய் நம்ம சாப்பிடுவோம். நம்ம சாப்பாடு அங்க கொண்டு போயிடுவோம். So people came from different part of the world. Italians came to New York, they started pizza. Everywhere they started pizza, now whole world is having pizza. And French, they will come and create this long bun. It's called baguette. So every part of the culture bring their own food. And now US, this is predominantly called American food. If you have a burger or a hot dog or a pancake, it's now called American food or comfort food. But it all came from different parts of the world, right? We have some passion towards sports, Indians in general. 95% is cricket, right? Only cricket, and very less in football and other sports we concentrate. But in US, you can see the people, as they are passionate about work and creating something, they are equally passionate about sports. So in an US office, like they are talking to you 1 or 2 or something, but after they finish the call and they go on to work with their people, they definitely talk about sports. Hey, did you watch the game yesterday? Hey, he played really well. Okay, I'm going to buy 7 tickets for the game tomorrow. So there is some communication around sports. So it's better to understand what they are speaking and try to engage with them. So this whole Thrive is not about doing work. That is up to us, what work we do. It is about how to establish a better communication, better relationship, better trust with the clients. And all these things will help. So their predominant sports are, baseball, football, which they actually play with their hand, and basketball. So throughout the year, there is, the first fall seasons they play football, and when it comes to winter seasons, all the grounds are having snow. So from January to May, they switch over to NBA, National Basketball, because it's indoor. So half a year they spend time outside on large game fields. Half a year they spend inside indoor stadiums watching basketball, something like that, right? So those are some of the sports that they do. And ironically, we have only one season, hottest, right? Sometimes we will get rain or some little bit chilly weather, but predominantly the northern continent goes through 4 seasons, right? They have first they have the fall season where the leaves fall, and that's why it's called fall season. And then the next is spring season, Vasantagalam, where slowly the flowers will bloom and all those things. Then they have summer. Sorry, I missed one. Fall, winter, heavy winter where there is snow, blizzards, and all those things. Then comes spring. Then finally summer. Only 2 months: June, July, August. Those 2 months. And you would have seen your customers, your clients would have taken 1 week off and going something. For us, it's month of May where we try to spend time with family. For them, it's July, August. That's the time schools are all off and they want to take some time off. So that is a contextual information that you can know as you are working with Americans. When it comes to climate, during those seasons there are very adverse climates, and sometimes it affects their work life also. So they might say, hey, I'm not able to make it into the meeting because there is a tornado warning or a blizzard warning. Blizzard, you can't drive in a blizzard. Blizzard is heavy snowfall in which you can't even drive. So those information, when you hear, you can respond appropriately. Oh, better be careful on the road. There's going to be ice on the road. So that will increase your trust with the customer, right? So, and in the bottom states, the Gulf area, you will have a lot of hurricanes. You would have heard about Hurricane Katrina and all those things. Heavy rainfall. In the northern states like New York, Maine, Virginia, all those things, you can hear about blizzard. So if your customer is in that area, you will be hearing blizzard. And if you are having customers in the middle America, Oklahoma, Texas, people will say, I am going into a bunker because a tornado is going to come. They'll stay in the bunker till the tornado goes away, right? So these are adverse climatic conditions that we have to be aware of. So I'll close here and we will continue about the education part at a later point of time. I hope you are getting onto the concept of why we are doing this and how we can use this better. If you have questions in this regard, you can bring it in the next session also. We will be able to answer. Okay. Thank you. Over to Kavita.
Yeah. So Tim's.
Here. He's very much here.
Yes, sir. So you have to give that homework, right, sir? Over to you, sir. Yeah.
I love giving homework. Homework means you do the work, and I sit back. Arun and Daniel did all the hard work, trying to explain, talk, and all that, teach and all that. So I take the easy route of, giving you some work and asking you to come back and speak next week. So, so you got an overview of, what we're trying to do in this program. Basically, try to understand a little bit more about the type of clients we work, and because we are working in a different environment, so, some of us probably have traveled to the US, but a lot of us may not have traveled. So it's good to understand the background of, where our clients come from, why do they ask, or why do they say some things that we find strange, so I think it's good to understand the context. And I think both Daniel and Arun have given a good overview. It's only a very brief overview. It's very difficult to understand all of the culture, in 2 or 3 hours. But it gives a kind of an introduction. I think you should go ahead and, do your own casual reading or watching, American movies, Hollywood movies we watch. You get some of the language, some of the styles of behavior and so on. So you'll get an idea about a little bit better about our clients. Now, but why do we do this is because we tend to work with our clients over a long period of time. So both those of you from the Mission Pathways team, and I was happy to meet Ibrahim about an hour back. Welcome to Ibrahim once again to EC Group and the Mission Pathways team. Glad that he could come, and your very first day, involves an orientation on American culture. So Mission Pathways team client is Bob Kozel. We talked about his name and what it means, and how the names are made up and so on. He's been our client, EC Group client, not since EC, Mission Pathways started 2 years back. He's been our client since 2010. Okay, so he was a VP of development with this client called Parish Soft. We have one developer working, Tamim. Some of you guys may have met him in the office. So he's been working with Parish Soft account since 2010. He joined us for Parish Soft. 11th year, we are still running with that. Bob Kozel, left Parish Soft and he went and he started his own company, which is Mission Pathways. So we have known Bob Kozel for 10 years. And, so some of the developers, have also met him, 2 years back when we came. Because we work with our managed clients for 10 years, long, and we have older clients, like we have an account called SIL, Oracle, and we've been working with them since 2005, even before I joined EC Group. So we have some very long relations with clients. And when we work with clients that long, it's to our advantage that we get to understand the clients better so that our work, becomes easier to manage. So that is why we want to try and understand our clients, their thinking, their styles, So I gave a 2-minute overview about Bob Kozel Ibrahim, what kind of a person he is and, what, his personality and so on. And it's good to understand our clients better. So, we are going to meet again next week, same time, on Wednesday. And we will try to do a little bit digging, a little bit more into our client, culture, what are the things that we can change or what are the things we can do better so that we have a good working relationship with our clients. So it happens, right, in all of life, when you have a good relationship with a person, a colleague or a friend or a classmate in school, college, whatever it is, then that you and I, you and him, that person, get to relate the relationship, and then things are basically better, in interactions and working together. So that's what we want to try and do with our client relationships as well. So what we're going to do next week is we'll try to understand a little bit more about the American work culture. Arun will also have a module there about, how things work in an American office and how people behave in an office and so on. And now, of course, half the Americans are also working from home like we do. So the work from home culture will be different. But, the way they do work from home is probably, different from the way we do. And, so it's good to understand those kind of things. So the exercise that we want you to do, the homework part, that I want you to do, and if you have 1 week to do it, is to try and get to understand your respective clients a little better. You must try to find out some information about your client. Okay, so for example, metaphor. Okay, metaphor, your client manager is Andrew Leong Fern. But there are also a couple of other people that you meet with, like Alison, Scoot, and I do not know who else you meet with, or occasionally maybe some communication, some mails or whatever it is. It is good to understand who these people are. Okay, and so the exercise that I want you to do is you have to go and try to find out some information about your clients. Metaphor team, you guys are lucky guys. There are 11 of you guys and only 3 or 4 client managers. But each of you try to find out something different. Okay. Andrew, okay. Look at Andrew or any of the other people, if you go to LinkedIn, any of these social media, accounts, you'll get to understand that person a lot more. LinkedIn gives a very professional background. If you go to Facebook, you'll get a little bit more personal depending on how much they reveal themselves publicly. But try to find out about Andrew, okay, his educational background, his professional background, where does he come from, where does he live, which city does he live, are there any photographs that he has shared publicly, okay, what do you think his interests are? Because, like Daniel said, like Arun said, Americans work very hard only within the work hours. Okay, so they start work at 7:30 in the morning and stop exactly by 4:30 in the afternoon, by the evening. And some of us were talking to our colleague Laurel in the US yesterday, and she said she has her dinner at 5:30 p.m. Okay, so they're home by 4:30. They're finished and they're home 5 o'clock. 5:30 as a family they sit to have dinner. By 6:30 they are free to do whatever. So they go out walk or they go and play games, like Arun was saying, or they go shopping to a mall, or they have so many other interests. Daniel mentioned about our chairman Tom Sudik. He does all kinds of things. He does welding at home. He can repair his house. He'll climb on the roof and replace the roofing. He'll do all that. So Americans basically are, have varied interests. So find out what are Andrew's interests. What does he do? Of course, there are also workaholics. There are exceptions. There are people who can't think of anything other than work, and they'll work, 18 hours or 16 hours or whatever it is. But find out for each of your client persons, the people that you interact with across the different clients, Mission Pathways, EC Labs, classical conversations. Subbu, you're the only man, so you can find out all you worked with Nancy in Alpas for quite some time, so you probably know more than many of the others. So let's come back and share that information about what you learned, what you discovered. But don't go and ask, Andrew tomorrow, sir, Andrew, Tim sir said, he wants to know which high school you went to. Don't do that. Okay, we can, once you get to know him, then you can have casual conversations later. But try to find out, get public information. There's a lot of information, but people may not share all the details. If you get a chance to speak to him, casually ask, something, make it part of a conversation. Typically, they will say, and we'll talk about this next time, the Monday morning when you have a meeting, they'll say, what did you do on the weekend? We would typically do some household work. We'd have probably gone shopping to Santosh stores or, somewhere, vegetables buying, but they would have done one major project, they would have done something, they would have done a significant thing. So they'll have something exciting to talk about. So, things like that, when you have a casual conversation, you'll find out, what is it that they did. Okay. So the idea is that, over a period of time, we all get to understand our clients better so that we can have a good working relationship with them. And the more you build a good relationship and the more you build a good rapport to work with them, it helps us, through some difficult situations, right? So if a project gets in a sticky situation because you understood and the client knows that you've tried hard and you've probably not done the right thing or you've gone in a different direction, it's easy to resolve those issues when you have a good relationship with the client. So let's take the time, I'm not saying, this is your, activity. You can find out, you can do some research. You can also ask some questions. You can write a friendly mail and say, hey, Andrew, what did you do for the weekend? Or, what are you planning to do this Memorial Day weekend? That's a good conversation starter. There's a long weekend, like Daniel said, 3 days. Monday, they're off, right? So I don't think you'll have client meetings on Monday. We'll come back on Tuesday. So find out, what is the plan? They might have some planned activity of going somewhere, meeting some people, family, and all that. So that's the activity for next week. So when we meet next week, we will spend maybe 10-15 minutes trying to collect the information we gathered about our client. And it's only a starting point. Over a period of time, you'll build a relationship. They'll also ask questions about your family and, about your children, what did you do over the weekend and so on. So it's a good, way of building friends with our clients. So that's the intended homework, something that for you to do outside your other office work. All right, so that's all from me, Kavita.
Thank you, sir. And so hope you got the homework details. So I'll also drop the same in the Thrive group we have, Thrive channel we have in Skype. So next week we'll be meeting at 2 o'clock. Next week, Wednesday, 8th of September, we'll be meeting at 2 o'clock. So while coming for the next week's session, be prepared with your activity. So that's all for today. We'll meet next week. Until then, bye from all of us. Take care.
Bye, guys. See you then. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Okay.
Muted.
No, the Thrive September is the group. So